Tell us a little bit about the video. What differentiates the video that you put on a rocket?
So far, for all the missions we've been on, the reason the customer wanted the video on board in the first place was some technical reason. You know, they want to watch the rocket stages stage, or they want to watch the fairings come off, spacecraft separate, you know, anything mechanical happening, they want to watch it. And what we do in our company, this isn't the only way you can do it, but we try to buy professional grade video equipment for the cameras. We buy them from existing suppliers, and then we basically tear those cameras apart and rebuild them so they'll survive the very intense vibration environment, for one. And usually if they're going up to orbit, we have to also think about the temperature extremes, because the temperatures can vary widely up there. And then if they're even up there for a longer time, you know, more than a few months, then we also have to worry about space radiation, because space radiation can affect those kind of things. So we, and in some customers even worry about the cameras outgassing products that they don't want to have deposit somewhere else on the spacecraft. So we have techniques for treating the cameras that way. But we don't design the cameras from scratch. We just rebuild what we can buy and try to pick good cameras. And they're NTSC cameras, most of them. NTSC video, you know, standard, sort of now it's old broadcast video.
3x4 interlaced and
yeah.
4x3
and it, you know, it's everything we've launched so far has been analog video cameras. And then our avionics that we use, once it's on a rocket, you can either transmit the video straight out of the camera, which is analog video. That's how the shuttle does it. That's how Delta II does it. Or you can get a little fancier and actually digitize that video with an electronics box and then compress the video, even store it and forward it later, you know, replay it. And we do that on some of the missions too. More so on spacecraft and rockets. But those are the two basic flavors. We call those the analog video system or the digital video system. And then just in another month or two, we're going to be shipping our first high definition cameras for use on a spacecraft. And the data rates are much higher coming out of those cameras, so there's a lot more data manipulation you have to worry about in the box, you know, the avionics box. So that's the challenge, is the avionics, all the software, getting all those bits that are in that box to talk with the host spacecraft or rocket. That's a challenge, because every host platform has its own preferred protocol they'd like you to talk to them with, and there's commands and telemetry going back and forth. So you know, most of the cameras are not really the challenge for us. It's the electronics and the software to make it all work as a system. That's the hard part.
The interfaces.
And then, you know, and it's all useless unless you can get the video all the way back to the user on the ground. So there's telemetry involved, you know, downlinks, receiving antennas, and we usually don't get involved with the ground part. But if you can't receive it on the ground and ship it to the customer, it's, you know, totally useless. So that's the hard part. The end-to-end flow is the real challenge.
How do you go about taking consumer circuit board and hardening it to military specs to withstand the radiation?
We just use professional grade cameras, but all the electronics we design from scratch. And it's, you know, it's existing parts that we can buy, but we design the circuit boards, we build them up, we design the packaging, you know, the chassis, the mechanical enclosures, and work with the customer on what kind of connectors they want to have plug into it. But that whole box is all our own. But we don't claim to be camera people or optics people. That's the reason we don't is because once you get into custom designed cameras and lenses and all that, you're talking about cameras that don't cost you know, $10,000 or $20,000, but they're more like $800,000 or $1 million, you know, for space. And there's a few suppliers of those that we don't want to compete with. Where we have very low cost, you know, very cost-effective packages, and most of our customers don't want to pay a whole lot for these things, because most of them are what they call non-mission critical. They're nice to have packages on these vehicles, but they're not really essential for the mission. So they want them to not cost anything, not weigh anything, not use any power, you know, no hassle. So we try to,
typical customer.
Yeah, typical. So we try to keep the whole thing as simple as possible, but make it work. And you know, so far we're, you know, 97 out of 97. So we're in that niche that almost nobody's in, and as soon as we go out of that, start making science cameras or fancy electronics, you know, radiation hard, we're competing with other folks, and we don't want to do that. So we kind of own our little market, you know, which is nice as a company. It's nice to just kind of feel like you're in control.